everyone, this is Hiba from My Little Journal, and today I'm really excited to be sharing my August and September 2020 Traveler's Notebooks. I'm going to do a flip through with these two Traveler's Notebooks, even though I literally just finished November and I'm going to get to December very, very soon. So when I finish those, I will definitely share them with you. Well, I forgot there's October as well. But I've been asked a lot about these Traveler's Notebook covers, and I got them from Studio Calico. They're really easy to use. They have these little, what are they called? Like metal thingies that go into the little notebook. It's kind of taken from the Midori covers, but I love them. I love that they're clear and they sit nicely on my shelf. So I think I'm going to be using these throughout 2021. But anyways, let's start with August, and there's so much to share, so I'm going to stop talking and do this real quick. Okay, so August 2020, we celebrated our Eid holidays, so I just used a large 8x8 photo for this. I get asked again a lot about my printing and like large photos. I get these larger photos printed at Persnickety Prints and my 4x8s as well. And I just use an Alt New stamp set and stamped Eid Mubarak, and then just a little stamp on some white paper. My husband is addicted to avocados, so we've been planting avocados and they have grown. They're beautiful. This is when we first started. It takes it a while to start growing, but it worked out well. And now I think we have like 7 or 10. But anyways, I just stamped avocados. I used Studio Calico's Tucker Alpha stamp sets. Love that stamp set so, so much. And I just stamped it on white cardstock or white paper and just stuck it down to my pattern paper. And I also used Everyday Explorer's plant stamp set. I think that is what it's called, or Plant Lady stamp set. And I stamped the little leaves around my alphas, and it just added that cuteness that I was looking for, and a few enamel dots, and called it done. My son moved into his dorm room in August, and we drove him to UGA. It was emotional. I added my journaling to a tag, cut it in half, and added the tag like above my title and underneath my title. And I just added little things, just a title on my photo. This is just a photo of him standing in front of the trunk of the car full of his stuff for his dorm room. My son also caught COVID in August. He literally within 10 days of him staying on campus, he caught COVID. So I journaled about it. This is when we went and took the test. The whole family went and took the test just to make sure we didn't have it either. But I just stamped 1 and 2 because we went twice when we wanted to make sure that we didn't have it. And then when he was done with his quarantine, we all went again and took the test. And thank God nobody had it but him. And he was good to go after the 14 days. But I used some labels. I believe I used Everyday Explorer's prompt stamp set and just used the prompts to help me journal. You guys know how much I love 4x8 photos, so I used this one to kind of document my gratitude to my kids. I used a 3x4 card from Everyday Explorer to add my journaling, and I believe this was a 3x4 card from Studio Calico that I trimmed down and used as a title. I love and enjoy documenting the little things. I always say this, it's the little things that matter. So what I was baking that week and watching, reading. So I used, these are digitals from In a Creative Bubble. I purchased those, wanted to use them. I just trimmed out the boxes from that digital and added my photos behind it. And this was so beautiful. Didn't need to add anything. I literally just added a little puffy heart at the top. I'm documenting my car overheating. We had car problems, so we had to drop off the car, came back in an Uber. So I was kind of documenting this whole situation. And I used a 3x4 card. I believe this is probably from an old Kelly Perky kit. Added my journaling, and then just used another 3x4 card that I trimmed down as my title. I always recommend this. Use your 3x4 cards to use as titles, embellishments. It's a great way to use those 3x4 cards. And I stamped Right Now, just little things from older kits and older stamp sets to kind of document that day. I love spending my crafty time with crafty friends. This is a photo, just a screenshot of my friend Kyra and I. Love her so much. She's one of the first people I befriended on YouTube. She has a YouTube channel. I will link it down in the description box for you. But we've been friends for the past like 5 years. I can't even remember, but I love her friendship. And I just wanted to kind of document that moment. So I just stamped, I stamped to chat with a friend, but I used my title to connect it to the opposite side of my spread. So it literally says, "Wonderful day to chat with a friend." Oh, and I used my little phone stamp and my hands from Kelly Perky. The phone stamp is from Everyday Explorers, to kind of do something different with this. And I actually really like how that turned out. I should use that idea more often. I've shared this before that my daughter loves to nap, and I love it when she's napping and Stitch kind of sits there and waits for her to wake up. And it looks like he's protecting her while she's sleeping. So it's just adorable. So obviously I had to document it, and I just stamped, "I'll protect you while you nap." And there was not much to say about it, but I just add a little bit of journaling on a label and called it done. My daughter and I love to do puzzles. We build puzzles all the time. We can bust out like 5 to 6 a month. But anyways, I just printed this photo in I think it was a 6x8, if I'm not mistaken. I trimmed it so I can have some space in the center to add a title and my journaling. And I ended up using Studio Calico's Color Theory ink, no, not ink, Color Theory kit. And it had the like see-through transparent alphas. They're just so pretty. So I used that for my title. Just documenting my kids and their love for each other, keeping it simple. I used my Glimmer Hot Foil machine from Spellbinders to foil up a few rainbows. And I stamped out a large label, which I love doing, especially when I don't have that much journaling and I just want to kind of focus on their love for each other. My daughter went back to school, the beginning of the school year, so I'm documenting that she's in 10th grade now. She is a sophomore, added some journaling, created like clusters. This kit from Studio Calico was all about like school and learning and back to school, so it was perfect. And I love the little puffy stickers that came in that kit, so I created little clusters around her photo. Again, I've said this earlier, but I love to document the little things, and using these 4x6 cards from Everyday Explorer was perfect to add mini photos in there and kind of document the whole month on one spread. And I just love these cards. I'm kind of hoarding them, but I'm thinking of doing this for each month in 2021. So let's see if I remember to do that, but these are perfect cards for something like that. I just stamped My Life Right Now. This is an Everyday Explorer alpha stamp, a little bit of journaling. I even stamped some splatter to add some color and called it done. One of Everyday Explorer's stamp sets is all about introverts and extroverts, and it's perfect because it's all on one stamp set. So I used that stamp set to document how my daughter's an introvert and how my son is an extrovert. And this is one of my favorite spreads of all times. And I just love how it looks. Just pops, they pop off the spread. And I just used the stamp set to stamp little things that represent them and how she's an introvert and how he is an extrovert. This layout is all about celebrating my son, him moving on campus, and starting this new adventure in his life. So I really wanted the title to be bold and different. So I thought it would be fun to use words that represent him and also spell out his name. And I just made sure that I spelt out his name in a different ink color. And I love how this turned out, so much fun. And I just used little embellishments here and there, but it really didn't need much because the title was just perfect, bold, and, you know, it filled up the space. Documenting marching band. He was so excited to start marching band in college. UGA has the best marching band ever. So he was really excited about it. And I used Studio Calico's marching band stamp set. Yes, we have a marching band stamp set. It's a little bit too late for me because like I could have used that stamp set for the past 4 or 5 years, but it's okay. He's still in marching band in college, even though this season was canceled, or it wasn't really canceled. They still did marching band, but it was totally different. And to be safe, he decided that he's not going to go to the games. So he still got to practice and things like that, but didn't experience the whole game. Hopefully in 2021, he will, fingers crossed. But I wanted to document his excitement for marching, and I just used that stamp set from Studio Calico. So in August, I mentioned this earlier that my son caught COVID while he was on campus. So I brought him home, and we had a whole different routine trying to keep ourselves safe and get him feeling better. So this is something I knew I wanted to remember, and I documented it right away because looking back now, yes, it was a hard time at the moment, but now I have this to remind me what we went through. If I didn't do this, I would have totally forgot what I was doing, like how many times I was cleaning, wiping things down, how I was cooking for him and just leaving his food at the door on paper plates and just things like that. It's something I want to remember, and I always recommend it. I know sometimes the stories are hard to document, but believe me, you'll thank yourself later when you look back on your journals. Documenting myself, which I always recommend to you guys. As crafters, we tend to document everybody in the family but ourselves. So I'm trying really hard to always add selfies of myself. I know my kids want to see this in the future. And so just little tidbits of myself. So I used close to my heart ink pads and stamp sets for this spread and just documented 3 selfies and stamped out a large title just saying, "You are powerful, brilliant, beautiful, and brave." All the things that we should be telling ourselves each and every day. I've mentioned this before, but I hate cooking. It's not something I enjoy doing. I literally do it out of guilt because I want my kids to eat, homemade dinners and lunches and breakfast. So I just do it myself. So anyways, I complain about this all the time. So I thought, you know what? I need to document this. I used Feed Your Crafts stamp sets and just added some journaling. I used the stamp sets to create like embellishments, and I added some puffy stickers, but I feel like I'm cooking all the time and I hate it. So it's just, it weighs on me so much. But anyways, I had to document it. This was documenting us saying goodbye to Laith when we dropped him off at UGA. I added a little bit of journaling. It was so emotional. But I just snapped this photo of him right in front of his building, dorms, and just stamped UGA. I think that's a sticker, maybe from Feed Your Craft, I'm not sure, but added a little sticker and called it done. And that, my friends, is August 2020. Let's move on to September. Okay, guys, let's start with September 2020. First spread is all about fall and fall moments. So I used the Paper Person's Shop kit, and what I decided to do, that kit came with some leaf die cuts. So I trimmed my photos the same size as the largest die cut and just created clusters. And I love how this turned out. It was like a last minute decision to trim my photos, and they fit nicely, and it created these beautiful clusters. And I'm really happy with how it turned out. And by the way, I have a lot of process videos for these spreads. I will link the playlist up at the eye for you, but if you haven't seen all my process videos and you want to see how I put these spreads together, I definitely recommend you check it out. I was documenting my love for coffee, so I used the stamp set from Studio Calico, stamped out all these beautiful leaves and pumpkins, and literally just tucked it around my coffee cup, and then stamped out coffee, added a few more of those leaves around that, and called it done. If you guys have been following me for a while, you know how important to me it is for people to vote. I wanted to kind of document that. We were coming up on voting. So I used Studio Calico's vote stamp set, created all these little circle labels in the background behind my photo, added 2020 election vote. I just was kind of talking about how important it is to vote and make your voice heard. So Studio Calico's release at the time had these really pretty die cuts, these diamond die cuts. So I used them to create my own little pattern behind my photo. The pattern says so many books, so little time. That's how I feel all the time. I love to read and I feel like I don't have enough time to read, but I used that to kind of document my love for reading and what I was reading. And I just added the name of the book I was reading at the time on a label. So I was documenting my daughter and I getting haircuts, and she wanted to go extremely short. So I thought stamping "You Do You Boo" made sense because I just love that she has her own unique style, and I just added some journaling about that and made a little flip pocket, which is so easy to do. And I share how I do mine plenty on my YouTube channel. I love seeing how people do a week in the life. I enjoy doing them in my traveler's notebook because they're easier, they're simpler, and I don't have to do a full-on album in details. So I just choose photos through the week or that day. And this was obviously September 2020. So I used these large vellum numbers from Studio Calico to add September 20. And just added some photos from throughout the day. I think this was from one day, if I'm not mistaken. In this next spread, I was just documenting things that I'm thankful for. This little girl here, she's adorable. She has the best personality. So I just kind of documented that. I believe I used, maybe this was from Everyday Explorers. Yeah, the number stamps. And then the thankful for, I even stamped the arrows and added them to her. I always open my phone and find silly photos of her, by the way. So I tend to try to use them in my traveler's notebook. Documenting Mr. Stitch and him destroying all the toys. So I wanted to give respect to his toys. So basically, I just added Stitch did it, and then remember, and then just kind of made a list of the toys that he's already destroyed. This dog, you guys, I swear, I'm at the point where I'm just trying to find the toughest toys on the planet for this dog because he destroys them all. I love documenting what I'm reading, and when Studio Calico adds book-themed pattern paper in my traveler's notebook, I get really, really excited. So what I did was I used the stack of books from my pattern paper to just write out the books I read, added a few embellishments. These embellishments are from an old Feature Craft kit, but I used those embellishments to add to my glassine bag that holds my photos, like covers of my books. And I love how this turned out. So cute, and I love using glassine bags in my traveler's notebook. Stamped bookworm, called it done. This is something I've been enjoying recently, is to add my journaling to a tag, trimming it in half, and adding it above and underneath my titles. I just think it adds some cuteness to my spread. It's fun, and it's a great way to add journaling without taking away from your title or your photo. So I was just kind of talking about Stitch and my love for him. I used these paw stamp sets, or stamp, from Close to My Heart. I have like a dog stamp set from Close to My Heart. So I used the paw stamp to add around my title. Documenting my love for everything pumpkin spice. It's fall, y'all. So I literally just stamped, it's pumpkin spice season, y'all. I used this beautiful alpha stamp from Studio Calico. It is becoming one of my favorites. I love the sketchiness and the doodle look to it. And then I just trimmed around my photo, my hand, and the creamer that I was so excited for. Just added that, called it done. I love how it looks. The simplicity is everything. Documenting being at home, having my cup of coffee outside while Stitch and Sabine play in the backyard. These are the little things that I enjoy and want to remember. Just created clusters around my photo. This is actually one photo. It's a 4x6, but I use pick frame to make a collage of 3 of the same photo, and that way you have the white border around all 3, and that way also I can kind of have fun with this and be creative and add like a tag and stamping in between my photo. This is one of those simple layouts that I always recommend to you guys when you're trying to catch up or you don't have much to say about the photo, but you really want to document that photo. Something like this. This was a part of my pattern paper. Just added a black star and a word sticker over stitch and called it done. This is another layout documenting when my son had COVID and kind of documenting the meals I was making for him. It was so funny because I thought to myself, I should take pictures of the meals I'm making for him because it was so elaborate. I felt so bad for him that he's stuck in his room all day and wasn't able to hang with us and eat with us and stuff like that. So I took photos. I made a photo strip of the meals, stamped trying not to go too crazy, and then added my journaling and stamped out COVID meals. And I love that my food stamps fit nicely in my O and D there. One thing that brings me so much joy is my garden. I have pear trees, fig trees, peach trees, all kinds of trees. And I even have grapevines. So I wanted to document my pear tree. It was looking beautiful and lovely. Didn't need to add much because that title was a part of my traveler's notebook. Just adding some puffy stickers and leaves and called it done. While we were quarantining, I got to baking a lot and was enjoying it. So I wanted to document that. I just stamped cookie and I had this little mini cookie stamp set. I believe it was from Feed Your Craft, and stamped it like a little column going down my spread and filled some of the cookies out. I also added the curved stamp from that stamp set around my bites, and I just love this spread. It's just so cute and simple. Another simple one where we're just literally documenting what we were up to. And you know, since we've been home, it's all about walks, baking, and at the time, you know, pumpkins, because pumpkins were everywhere. It's fall. So those are like basically what we were up to. And when I look at these photos, I will remember that, you know, we were stuck at home. And these are the things that used to bring us joy at the moment. Documenting Stitch and going to the vet. So I added my journaling to this 3x4 card from Everyday Explorer. I even used the stamp set from Everyday Explorer. When I use or I stamp like flowers and leaves, I try not to stick it down all the way just so it can give it some texture so you can see some of these lift, and I love that. I also stamped directly on my spread to add that depth, but I really, really love that stamp set. This was designed by Felicitas, and it's just so gorgeous. I'll definitely be linking everything in the description box for you, but also Felicitas has a YouTube channel, and I will link that as well. We are almost done with my traveler's notebook, documenting what I'm grateful for right now. Added a photo of pumpkins and just made a little list. This stamp set was from Studio Calico. It is a beautiful stamp set. So perfect to like add a list of things that you're grateful for. Last but not least, documenting my daughter and her love for music. So what I decided to do was use a music stamp set from Close to My Heart, and I stamped out the guitar and left some space to journal about her love for the guitar, the violin. My daughter also plays the piano, so I added that. Just little things, and all I did was trimmed around her body to have that space. I wanted to give myself some space to add the journaling and the stamping. So I just did that, and I really enjoyed making the spread and documenting her love for music. But that's about it, you guys. That is journal number 46. So we have August and September. Hopefully I will get to October and November, December very, very soon. Fingers crossed. I do want to share those with you, especially once I'm done with December. But I hope you enjoyed watching this flip through video. And if you did, please give me a thumbs up. And if you are new to my channel, please consider subscribing. And I hope to see you guys very soon. Bye.